right, guys. Well, here it is. So what we have is a 1991 Chevy Suburban. It's an R2500, which means it's the four-wheel drive version and a 3/4 ton. One of the things that really made me want to pick up this vehicle is, for one, the price. I got a really good deal on it. It was pretty rough. It wasn't running at the time. And it was a 3/4 ton four-wheel drive unit, and it was the first year of the 4L80E transmission, which my intentional goal anyway was to LS swap the truck. So having the 4L80 in there from the factory really made it an easy choice to choose this one, along with the great deal I got on it. This was a 6.2 diesel truck that had a lot of problems and needed a lot of work and money to get the diesel back up and going. And with the kind of the history of the 6.2 diesel, I just decided to yank it out and put a bone stock 5.3 in it that I had laying around out of another project. The vehicle is already LS swapped. I had a very short window to get it moved, and I didn't want to move it to my house and swap it at my house. The shop I had it at, I had the opportunity to use their shop and their tools and whatnot to get it swapped. So I did a very crude, basic, yank the diesel out, swap this in, kind of quick 1 week job. Threw a simple little exhaust on it. I modified a stock wiring harness out of a truck and basically got it going. Another thing I really like about this truck is that it's not a real heavy featured truck on the options, I guess you could say. It's all manual windows, all manual locks, and a lot of just real bare bones. I want to build this vehicle to kind of take camping and do road trips and stuff like that. Yeah, so when we first picked it up, this thing was filthy. The interior, it's a vinyl floor interior. It's all blue, like I said, all manual locks, manual windows. It did not have gauges at all. I mean, the wiring is a mess. I just threw a set of Dakota Digitals I had in there to give me some gauges just to get it going and get it to the house so I can start this build. It had vinyl floors, which were just freaking disgusting. Me and my wife spent about a full weekend just gutting this thing, cleaning it out. It was filthy. It's obviously going to take a lot of interior work to get it where we want. I'm planning on trying to find an interior out of a newer crew cab truck and kind of fit the seats in here, because I'm really a fan of the 07 to 14 interior. I've seen them in a square body before and they look really, really nice. I'd like to either go back with the vinyl floor mats and rhino line the floor, either way. We'll kind of see. But overall, not too bad. Another big thing about this truck is there is no rust, like no rot rust. There's obviously a little surface rust on the floorboards, but nothing that really goes all the way through. So overall, not too bad. Like I said, it is a four-wheel drive unit. It came with these wheels and tires. They're not bad. The tires are pretty worn, but the rims look like they could be cleaned up pretty good and might work out pretty well. Got quite a few dents and dings in it, but we're kind of up to the challenge to get it all worked out. This Suburban does have the barn doors, which are kind of cool. I like the barn doors opposed to the tailgate style with the fold-up lid. Got a bunch of crap back here, but also along with what I'm going to do is I went ahead and picked up a 83 front end. I'm kind of a fan of the 83 front ends, the single headlight, single turn light. I got a new bumper for it. Picked these up off Facebook Marketplace. The thing about the 91 front end that's on there right now is, I don't know, it's kind of weird. They only made it 1 year. There's no chrome trim around the bezel or the headlight bezels or anything like that. It seems like this truck was wrecked in the front end at one time. The core support is all tweaked. Yeah, you see this year had these kind of weird bezels to them. The 73 to 87 has like a trim kind of ring that goes around the bezel and the headlight bezel. So I'm going to switch back to that unit. This was a heater only truck, and I guess at one time they converted it to AC. So this had an AC system of some sort running in there, but I already yanked most of that out. But like I said, when I yanked the diesel out, I had about a 1 week span I threw a quick LS motor in there, manual fans, just to kind of get it up and going. I just threw the stock truck exhaust manifolds on there and whipped together a quick little 2.5 inch exhaust. The wire harness for the motor is like really rough. I just threw that together as well. Missing the windshield wiper motor. It had a bad brake leak, so I went ahead and replaced the Hydro Boost. But the goals for this thing is I'm going to yank the motor out. The transmission seems pretty good. I'm going to go through the whole motor. I'd like to put a truck cam in it, all new seals, bearings, stuff like that. I really want to make this thing reliable to go, do long trips and not leave me or my family stranded anywhere. I'm going to switch to electric fans. As big of a fan as I am of the stock ECU on these LS motors, I am going to go switch to the Holley Terminator X-Max. I have some plans down the road that I'd like to kind of try out with maybe a blower or maybe a simple turbo kit. We'll see. But I'd like to do that. I'd like to be able to put this thing around the 450 to 500 horsepower range. Something that pulls a travel trailer or a boat with no problem. Nothing too crazy. Just be fun driver and whatnot. Like I said, I'm also going to switch out the front end, new fender, stuff like that. One of the other flaws that this truck does have is the chassis wiring. The chassis wiring for this truck is just horrible. I got it all fired up. Half the brake lights work, half the lights work. A lot of the interior doesn't work. For as bare bones as the truck is, it is really in bad shape. I'm sure a lot of it could be repaired, but I'm kind of picky when it comes to wiring and stuff like that. So I'm gonna do a full from headlight to tail light rewire on this truck. I've rewired a few of these C10 base platforms, and they're not too bad. I've used the American Auto wire, I've used the painless harness, and they're both pretty good. And actually, for this truck, I actually already have a painless wire harness for this truck. I found this on Facebook Marketplace. This one isn't chassis specific, it's just their universal harness, but it was a really great deal. So I'm gonna do, a little series on wiring up the truck with the universal harness instead of the chassis specific. That way you guys can get an idea what's all involved with doing that. This one's got the 31-gallon tank. I ran I ran an intake air motor fuel pump, -6 lines. But as we start tearing it down, we kind of go over everything on the truck and what the plans are. I'd like to possibly put maybe a 2 to 4 inch lift on it. Nothing too crazy with 35s. I'd like to fabricate a roof rack and maybe some front and rear bumpers and some running boards. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think, what I should do to this thing. It's got some awesome potential. The drivetrain is really bulletproof, especially once I get a good reliable motor in there. I'm kind of going to go over building the motor once we yank it out here pretty soon. That'll probably be on the next episode. Yanking the motor out, ripping the core support off, hell, possibly even yanking all the wiring out of the truck as well. So stay tuned for some coming updates on this truck. I also have two other vehicles that I'm doing an LS swap on right now, and I'm going to do a kind of a build series on those as well. They're mostly all done, so it'll just be a build overview. But let me know what you think of the Suburban and what you'd like to see on it. So, all right, guys, we'll see you on the next one.